We're live.
Hockey Nation fans, welcome back to another special edition, the early edition of the Hockey Nation live show. This is your host, the co-host, Coach Frenchy is directly from the booth, and we have to go all the way to the West Coast to find the only one, the co-host, Michael Devalleno.
How's it going, Pierre?
Happy Monday, everybody. Michael, everybody, happy Monday. We are ready for week number 14, I believe, or 15. We are about 2 weeks and a half of the end of the season. We are the last stretch. Again, you can see this weekend with all the results happening, a difference between the best of the best and the worst of the worst, more and more right now. And you can see we see a couple of teams, but you went from tonight at least. The result tonight between the Panthers, Nashville, Carolina, and that will make a difference for some of them going to clinch the playoff spot, and the one going to be eliminated. So you're going to see that kind of the split right now on many divisions. To be honest with you, so it'll be interesting to see that. So a lot of hockey the last 3 days, a lot of news around the league happening, and I think what we do at the every Monday morning when we start, we can start with all this fun thing happening the last 3 days. But first of all, it's happened 1 hour ago. The NHL,
I'll be taking you through the world.
Whoops, sorry, I don't know what happened there.
right? So it was the retirement of Andre Shaw for the Chicago Blackhawks. Announced today he's going to quit hockey for
Oh, Andrew
health
Shaw.
issues with concussion. It's sad news. He's one of the great grinder in hockey, blue collar guys. Won the Stanley Cup with the Chicago Blackhawks. Got traded to Montreal Canadiens a couple of years ago. Then returned trade back to Chicago Blackhawks. And so I think, if he was to get retire and become a Hall of Fame, he will wear the jersey of Chicago. He's really have the Blackhawks.
I'm not going to Hall of Fame, man.
He has he have a jersey on his logo, on his heart. He have a great career. He has, he played 544 game. He have 100 goals. I can tell you exactly what I have here.
Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy, Pierre, because I remember I can't remember if he was like drafted or not, but he was he played for Owen Sound in the OHL. And the year that Mississauga, St. Mike's Majors, St. Mike's was still in Mississauga then before Melnick sold them. He was playing in the Memorial Cup. And the team that was favored and, hey, what's going on? Ended up winning that was Gerard Gallant. It was a team with Thomas Yurko. What's it called? St. John. And I remember we were all like, scouting everybody. And I remember this really old dude came up and goes, "I like that guy." I'm like, "That guy, he's so small." Who cares? He doesn't do anything. And that was Andrew Shaw. And a week later, he signed with Chicago.
Yeah, he's a 5'11", 182, shoot from the right. He's a 139 overall pick, 5-round pick, and 2011 for Chicago. And he played like 544 game and 116 goal, 131 assists, 247 point, plus 27 at point 24. It's a TOI 15 minute, 15 second. He was a player, bouncing between a second line to the third line. He can have a specific role on fun ways, and he's a guy can go, not the talented like Gallagher and Marchand, but a guy that prototype like that can spy plug the team. He can make a body check. He have no, like the second shift in NHL, he fight Ronaldo for the Flyers. He scored the first goal in the second period. This year, he has only played 14 games and 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 point -7. And unfortunately, February 9, he got another concussion. I think he's like 6'7" right now. And
Yeah.
he's already struggled with Montreal 2-3 years ago.
He
If he will finish his career, and he continues to play. But right now, by the decision of different doctors, telling him it's maybe the time right now for your health for the rest of your life to stop to play hockey. And he did a nice video this morning for about 4 minutes,
did he?
provided by the Chicago Blackhawks. about that. So about the reason he's leaving, everything like that. So I believe him. He's going to be a hockey coach. I believe him. He's going to stay around the game. He's going to work for Chicago on different area. Could be scout. I just know. I don't. I feel this guy. He's going to be a long time in hockey.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes a lot of sense to me. He's definitely a gritty guy. Like, it's not like anybody said this guy is going to be a star. When, like I was mentioning before, like this age group in the OHL, if you look at guys that were ahead of him, Taylor wasn't a great skater, but Casey Cizikas was 11th that year in scoring for St. Mike's. Ryan Ellis was in that age group. Christian Thomas, which is Steve Thomas's kid. A lot of these names, Devontae Smith-Pelly, they all finished up here. Oh, I forgot about Tommy Kuhnackel. That's interesting. And this guy, Joey Hishin, was like, considered to be a top player, and he was also on Owen Sound. And yet, out of all of those guys, this is the guy that made it. Like, obviously, Casey made it, but I think Andrew Shaw might have exceeded what Casey accomplished.
Yeah, it's funny you see Zach Cashin a little bit,
Right.
and Dougie Hamilton a lot at the bottom, maybe that. You know what I mean? But again, I think overall,
this was a very young Dougie Hamilton, by the way. He was like, 3 years younger than these guys.
At the end of the day, he have a great career. He won the Stanley Cup. He accomplished a lot. So he just sat at a young age of 29 years old, almost 30, still not play. So he stopped to play hockey. So just, you know what I mean? Like, you don't wish, but at the end of the day, we wish the best for him. The health first, family, kids, wife, everything like that. So thanks, NHL, to be this again and again and again. Just said hi to us and stop by during the show. We appreciate your collaboration and everything like that. And I think he has a question for you, Michael. He asked me Saturday night.
I mean, listen, that's not up to me. If I could be an NHL scout, I'm all over it. I mean, that's, I would love to do that. Absolutely. I have no issue with travel or anything. I love being in the arena. So I think this past year was a little bit weird, like my goal would have been to be part of a team that won a Memorial Cup in the last 2 years. I think Everett had a real shot at that, and that's obviously not going to happen because there's no Memorial Cup for 2 years. So I guess we'll see what happens after that. I'm pretty spoiled in Everett, but I would love to be in the NHL, obviously. So I've definitely, tried to reach out to people over time, and it just takes time.
Of course, absolutely. Talking about Chicago Blackhawks, they signed this weekend. Surprised me a little bit. Riley Stillman.
I was really surprised at that.
Yeah, and the money he got.
I know. What am I missing?
I don't know. He has 0 points this year in 12 games, I believe. He signed a contract at three years at 5.1, I believe. No, 4.1 at 1.34 or 25K AAV per year, 135. Here we go. And he has like 0 point this year. I don't know. From Scott Bowman release, like he make a statement, said he likes the implication, the cares, everything like that. That sign him for 3 years, he was extend his RFA. That's the point behind that. But I think for me, Michael, it's a lot of money for 1.3. I think he could get him like 900, 1 million max, as you can see, have 0 point.
I mean, you don't sign, you don't sign him for the points. Clearly, I think though that you got to get some friggin' points. So the guy's got 49 games in the NHL, so he's probably just breaking in. We've seen this with other players, and it's probably an inexpensive hedge against what he could become. Like in 3 seasons, could he become a 4th pairing D? Probably. And is that reasonable? Like, is that a guy that isn't going to escalate on you salary-wise? Probably. So they must really trust him. They've seen him a little bit, but I mean, he's not going to add anything offensively to your team.
Absolutely.
Thanks. If you know anybody, I mean, I know people, but I'm bad at asking for me. I need an agent.
No, that's good. I think he's still a young development. I think he's only 22, 23.
23, yeah. 23.
At the end of the day, it's good to have depth. It's good a little bit like, It's another Victor Mete or some stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like young player, promoter, 23 years old. It's just for me. My concern about me was just the fact. For me, it was just the money situation. That's it.
Do you think the Panthers overpaid to move Brett Connolly? What did they give up?
Not really, because he was a trade for the two Lucas Walmart and Lucas Carlson. They get Florida and they send him with Stillman and a draft pick, if I can call it.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it was just a movement of the contract money. I think Connolly did not have a chance with Florida this year. He's still a good players, 20 goals, a couple of years. I'll be some. Can you click on him? I did not see him a lot on the Chicago.
I saw him play a couple times. Because I saw him, he scored one game, but you know, he's a 92, so he's getting up there, Pierre. He's 29, 30. Same as and is Andrew Shaw a 91 though? I think Andrew's a 91. So let's see. Yeah, I saw him score this goal.
Okay.
But you know, the guy had 19 goals last year, Pierre. He had 22 the year before. Fifth, like he's capable of scoring. That's the thing. He's a terrible skater. He's not like a fast player, right?
No.
And I think that's the issue. Like when you look at what Florida wanted to do is they got guys that could skate. They wanted to play up tempo. So let's see. Borgman is
again. He play again. You know, he play on the third four line Chicago. You know, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. He had the same role he was with Florida. So at the end of the day, for the money he got, I think it's a lot he has right now. And I still have one more year, I believe.
Oh, his contract's like, is it almost $4 million?
Yeah, 3 point something, 4 million, something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
and then the second thing is, you know, he was the first round pick, 6th overall pick. You know,
he was,
a lot of good thing about that.
I think he was like, you know, he started slow, right? I think Tampa picked him, and he was like, he was hurt when they drafted him, so there was a big question about him, and he was always a big scorer in junior. So he played in Prince George. You see, he had the 46, but you see here he had like 16 games. Can you see this? No, because can you see that? Yeah, you can see it. Okay. He had 16 games with Prince George, so he was hurt this year in his draft year, and he came back and he was hurt again. Like he had, you know, a lot of points. It just took him a little while to get going. Like they rushed him probably a little bit here. I think this was just a bad time in Tampa. I don't know why they put him in, but Guy Boucher was the coach then. But he's a big guy, not a great skater, but he could score, man. He's got a good shot, and he finds you know, the net.
So we have a couple of milestone happenings on the weekend.
Yours or mine?
What?
You are awesome. You are amazing. What? You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. You are.
Where's that coming from?
What? Oh, sorry about that. It's my roadcaster. I use I click on it by. Okay.
That's all right. I was like, I hear you. Thank you, Pierre.
I did not know.
Anyway, so that's the point about.
There you go. Sorry about that.
Had a good career.
My son, Zero Shara plays 1600 games Saturday night on this career, so that's pretty good for him. You know, a veteran of, you know, over 20 years about that. So and then I want to mention to you, Montreal Canadiens select a couple of years ago, 5th round pick Shane Farrell.
Who?
Shane Farrell.
From where?
OHL, I believe, but no OHL. But he accomplished this year in the USHL 100 assists, 100 point in USHL.
Huh? And how
unbelievable.
Oh, there he is. No, this guy.
Yep. he decided to not return because the situation. He decided to leave.
I'm confused who this guy is even. So he's a Montreal draft pick. What birth year?
Shea Farrell?
I have no idea how you're even spelling that.
Farrell.
Huh.
It was drafted in 2019, I believe.
Oh, so he's pretty new. And it's Shea with an S?
Sean.
Oh, Sean.
Sean Farrell.
He's a 2001. And he had 101 points in 53 games.
Yeah.
Chicago Steel is a machine. So that team's very, very strong. We've seen some crazy players come out there, including, this kid. I know this kid. Yeah, totally seen this kid play. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a strong team. I mean, that program, Eric Middendorf. I don't remember Max Middendorf. That's his nephew. This is the kid, though, right?
Yep.
Fantilli, the 2004. It's funny because he left Canada to play on the U.S. side. So strange.
Yeah, because the CHL was stopping, so he decided to be sure he can play hockey.
So
good for him to get that part over there.
Yeah. So, anyways, I kind of diverted, but because hockey DB is really kind of a pain in the neck. Oh, I don't know why. So yeah, Sean Farrell is really a talented player. He's I'm not sure what he is though long term. I guess we'll see. Coronado, highly rated guy as well. Like he's pretty. But Josh Doan is Shane Doan's kid. So it's an interesting team. Middendorf was Max Middendorf's nephew. He won at the WHL Combine in his year when not the Combine, but the U.S. Prospects. He was the player of the Prospects. He's tournament. Fantilli, though, is projected to be top 3 or 4 in his age class, right? And we saw him play when happy that Conley's gone. Yeah, USHL is an old league. Yeah. Sean's pretty good. I don't know what he is though. Do you have the sense of a really good goalie in their hands with Mads Sogard? Yes, Mads is Mads is definitely a really good goalie prospect. We saw him in the WHL. He's huge. His raw potential is crazy. I think our goalies are better but smaller. So he got drafted ahead of Dustin. It was not fun sitting next to the Wolf family at the NHL draft, Pierre. I had to leave. They were very not happy about that. I think you see Dustin perform over his career. He's always going to remember Mads because Mads went ahead of him. I think he's a better goalie than Mads, but he's definitely he's a huge kid. I think he's 6'7" or something.
Oh wow. Talking about goaltender from the Buffalo Sabres, Luukkonen got his first W Friday night as a goaltender for the Buffalo Sabres. So good for him to get the first.
Oh, good. The young Finnish goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's highly regarded, right? He's a great prospect for them. So if he's that close to being able to play, that's really positive for them.
Joe Thornton became the oldest player to score a goal for the Toronto Maple Leafs at 41 years old in 296 days.
Jesus. Which Tkachuk do you think will be better? Ooh.
Brady.
Keith Tkachuk will be the best one.
That was going to be the great one, but I think
oh my God,
I think Brady for Ottawa right now is better for overall compared to his Matthew.
Well, I mean, I always have this debate with Pierre, but I think anyone that passed on Brady Tkachuk is going to regret it. First of all, I think the big question with him was, can this guy score? He didn't really score a lot at Boston, but he was young. And then he steps in at 18 and he's had 2 20-goal seasons. He would have probably been on pace for 25 again this year. I know he's not a centerman. He's a big guy. I think he's got so much skill and talent, and he's big, and he's just a baby bull. The guy has just got so much ability. His brother is sneaky, a pain in the neck, but he's not sneaky, man. He'll go through you. He's a throwback. He's like a cleaner version of Tom Wilson.
Yep.
But maybe more skill. He's like pretty good.
Then the next one I want to mention to you is finally Alex Barré-Boulet scored his first goal in NHL with the Tampa Bay yesterday during his first game. So a great performance of Alex Barré-Boulet. Another one where nobody expect him to be in NHL, and he go the wrong. He take the long way, and just another big fish of the Julien Brisebois again about him.
I mean, he has the feel of a Yanni Gourde, right? Like he's that.
Yep.
It feels like this might be another guy they found from the Quebec League. He got lots of points, and I think people always question Quebec League because it tends to have guys that rack up points, and then maybe it doesn't translate. But I mean, he's gonna be. He's too good to play in the AHL now. I think. Like he can obviously play there, but he's got the ability to contribute at the NHL level. So I think it's going to be one of those things where if they give him an opportunity, he might be a Yanni Gourde type player.
Yeah, I think for me it's more about his durability, about the players. Yeah. I've never been a full year season in any level. When you play in QM, you never play a full year for injuries. You can see 37, 28, 66. Then you have a good year, 74 with 1 year, but after that you got 60. You know what I mean? So we'll be interesting about that. But again, you're right. Good morning, Denise. Denise, she's aboard. Welcome, Denise. Good morning. She come the evening usually, so hopefully they wish you a great Monday. Yeah, it's a great pass on Palat on that one over there. I just want to mention to you about that, about the milestone happening this weekend. A little bit about, before we jump everywhere, but Minnesota clinch again. So they have 3 teams in the West Division are clinched in the NHL right now: Minnesota, Colorado, and Vegas. So congratulations to the Minnesota Wild. Talking about COVID-19, Josh Levo was already there last Friday, but also we have to add a PK Subban, Michael, on the list. PK Subban talk about this weekend, so he's by himself. And then the new player over there is Slagen Tahader, a guy from Washington, got traded for New Jersey. Defenseman Jason Slagen whatever his last name. He's on the COVID-19 also. And then talking about the goaltender, Matt Zagard, or Zogad, whatever his last name, for the Ottawa. Do you know what happening Saturday night with Anisimov?
He was gonna dress as the goalie.
He was dressed up as a goaltender, backup number 2, after Murray got hurt, and so he was as first and second period. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah, that was crazy. That would have been interesting. I mean, he's got the size and the build. He's got the same build as probably a lot of goalies. He's like tall and lean, right? Like he's.
It was interesting to see that it was the news between the period Saturday night. Talk about Saturday night. One thing nobody talk a lot, and I check around, but Paul Morris sat down for the full second period. Mark Sheffley, the captain of the team, for poor performance.
That's kind of weird.
Yep.
I don't know. That seems weird to me.
Did this happen?
That guy's your best player by far.
Yeah, but it looked like he did not do something about something, and they did not do anything about that.
Was there? I mean, it's one thing we know. Like, you can see with Patrick Laine that there was always whispers of problems, right? And same with Evander Kane. But Winnipeg, because it's Winnipeg, it's in the middle of a place that not a lot of people pay attention to, and I think they try to keep things close to the vest there. So when there's problems, like, I don't know. I think they do a good job of keeping it internal. But yeah, Sogard is 6'8". Yeah, I don't know if he's 6'8". He's definitely 6'7". But I mean, at that point, what's the difference? I think it depends on who measured him and whether he was in shoes or not. But he's a monster no matter what. There's no no way around it. For his size and the skill, he's pretty damn good. I think our goalies are better. I think you'll see Dustin be a better goalie, frankly, but he's.
And then finally, before we jump on all the games this weekend, I want to give you the 3-star of the weekend. Let's start with Mr. Jonathan Bernier.
Oh my God.
Mr. Bernier was unbelievable against Dallas Star. Got 52 shots and he lost 2-1 and OT. The only thing he did not do is to score for Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't happen, but it was unbelievable. The second star is Ryan O'Reilly for the St. Louis Blues. Scored a hat trick.
He's got a hat trick again. What the heck?
It was the second hat trick. He had 3 during his career, but this is second hat trick during the month of April.
Yeah, I was gonna say because he's never really been that type of player. Like, I'm trying to think if with us I think he had a 4-goal game once with us. That was a midget.
And the third star of the weekend. Name it, take one player, but I would tell you the New York Rangers. So take 1, take 2, take 3. They are all there this weekend. You can start with Adam Fox. You can start with Capo scored 2 goals. Zibanejad have another hat trick this week, yesterday. And
did he get a hat trick yesterday? I know you got 2. I didn't know you got a hat.
No, he have 3.
Man, he's a monster again. That's great.
Capo have 2 points. Yes, 2 goals yesterday. Adam Fox, I believe, 2-3 assists.
So a couple questions had come in here.
Yep.
One, Bernier, I don't think he's going to leave Detroit, Pierre. I think that there's probably a deal in place that will keep him there. I would be surprised if they don't want to keep him for another 3 to 4 years. The last 2 years, he has been phenomenal. He's given them goaltending and stolen games like no goal in the last 15 years. I mean, it just shows when you have a little bit of an above average goalie, how much better that was than Jimmy Howard. I mean, he last year was so head and shoulders above what we've seen in years. And this year, again, you're seeing it. The other question was around Quinton Byfield. So Byfield was a 2nd overall draft pick. We saw him not have a great World Junior Championship. And he definitely, you can tell the potential is there, Pierre. He's big. He has skill. He struggles in tight. He's gone to the AHL, which I think was probably a blessing for him not to play in the OHL this year. I don't think he would have gained anything because in the OHL, he gets away with stuff.
No, that's true. This is a good comment. I think he'll get there. Now, to play 1 or 2 games, I'm not sure. I don't know and saw that one over there.
They're probably out of it, maybe.
Yeah. But again, I'm not sure they will do this. But he have a great year so far with an AHL. He's right. He should be there for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to mention to you about the performance of Jonathan Bernier. After the second period, the score was 1-0 Detroit, and the shot was 41-6.
I know. It was crazy, Pierre.
This is the most best performance than any goaltender in
the
last 10 years. In the last 10 years.
Oh, easy.
You know what I mean? So
what's interesting when you look at LA guys is they're still stacked. Like they have young talent in the NHL, but then you look at the AHL, and these guys are not like questionable prospects. I mean, Arthur Kaliev has addressed his fitness, and he's been very consistent there. Quinton Byfield's been up and down a little bit, but he's 18.
Well, you have a lot of good players there. Like you think about Turcotte. I think Turcotte is the one that surprised me. I thought he was going to get a little bit better, but he got passed right now. If you're on this side, he got passed right now by Kaliev. Kaliev is another great player. Byfield is there. Kasperi Kapanen there. Anderson is another one. I think not people talk about him.
Yeah, he's going to be a good reclamation for them because he was a high draft pick, probably too high for the New York Rangers, and that was
that's what we're going to say. That's another one from the firm of the New York Rangers. I think that's the one over there. So they have a lot of good players over there for the Kings. That's promising.
Pierre Fagemo is considered like an elite goal scorer. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but he is definitely capable of being a second or a third line NHL player. He's like getting up there a little bit, but when you watch him, he's physically mature. He can skate. He can really shoot the puck. What is going on with your website? So we saw him again in international play, and he was like ridiculously good. Like,
Let's jump in on the question. I have a couple of questions.
oh, we do. Let's see. Leafs fans are wondering, why couldn't we get Bernier to play that good? He did. He played great in Toronto, Pierre. If you go back and look at his numbers in Toronto, there was nothing wrong with him. The issue was the Toronto media was all over the guy, and he made one slip up, and they were not a great team. They had that was the Phil Kessel era, and they were, they overvalued some guys. I don't think GM did, but he made moves to improve that team. But Bernier was not bad in Toronto. What was difficult was, like everyone, you're either a superstar or you're garbage in Toronto. And he made one mistake, which was kind of weird. Someone asked him, I don't know if you remember this, Pierre. They asked him about Nelson Mandela, what he meant. And he started answering like he was a player. He was like, oh, he was a great player, Hall of Fame career. And they just killed him on it.
All right.
I think that was the end of him in Toronto.
So
right?
here's the point about, and I don't want, if this is public, but that's the first year of Steve Briere, my buddy. He's a goaltender coach for Toronto Maple Leafs. He came there, and you have Bernier over there. But now you have also Reimer over there. Then also you have Garrett Sparks.
Yeah,
and the Toronto Marlins. Then you also have Antoine Bibeau with that part over there. So during that summer, we are doing hockey camp together, and then he asked me to helping him to go there, and he prepared all those for goaltending. The only thing I do is carry on the park and to be sure everything was fine and nothing else. Because the coach cannot be part of the players during the off season, but the players just draft anyway, so you have a chance. And the story is about him. It was the pressure of what Toronto gave to him on his shoulder to be the next Felix Potvin or the next one, Curtis was a name, and whatever it is. It was too much for him. He's a really special human being, Jonathan Bernier. He's not like a normal, regular guy. He's a good guy, but he thinks differently. He acts differently. He has his own bubble life on otherwise things like that. And I think he did not have a great relationship with Steve. Did not believe on Steve. Steve, he was a young goalie coach, came for the USHL. He did not have no name, like no reputation to play NHL, everything like that. He did not buy on Steve for month and month and month. And that's starting to get there. Now, Lou Lamoriello was upset with Steve every day. But Mike Babcock, he was protect him. One day, Lamoriello told him, which goalie in NHL do you think the Toronto Maple Leafs could get? And he named Frederik Andersen.
Sure.
Well, after that, they trade Reimer to San Jose. They want to finish last. They screw up every 20 game to be sure they can get Austin Matthews. And then after that, the stories go back. They get Anderson after that, and the story continues like that. But that's the story about Jonathan Bernier over there. And then
look at these numbers.
So
look at his numbers. I mean, you tell me 55 games, 0.922 save percentage, 26, 19, and 7, 0.912, 0.908. This was not a good team, right? That by design, you just said it. And then he goes to Anaheim. It's not like he was garbage in Anaheim. He was 21, 7, and 4 in Anaheim. He played great in Colorado if you watched him. He's been a very good goalie.
I think that year, the Colorado is the year where they struggled a lot.
Yeah.
It was the year
they did bad. They did good that year. They did good
16, 17?
Yep. 17, 18. They were good. That was when McKinnon broke out and Rantanen was coming on. So they had a very good record.
Well, it was the year prior to that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Varlamov was awesome. He was healthy this year, right? But he was a great goalie. Like he was, when you watched him, he was very good. You're like, wow, this guy can play. I'm like, yeah, he always could. So like
Anthony in the house, Anthony Manzono in the house.
Yeah. The short hockey market that you have to keep certain players away because I don't think they can do it. Yeah, Toronto's terrible. Because in Toronto, the news, weather, sports, politics is all hockey. The programming is all hockey. You have 2 sports channels in Canada, and both are fighting it out for hockey content. The Toronto Maple Leafs are owned by rivals, right? Like they're owned by Rogers and Bell, who own Sportsnet and TSN. Like everything is hockey there, and then they got guys like Steve Simmons, specifically, who he's like the dirt digger. Anytime you want to get rid of Mike Babcock, you release a story about Mitch Marner. Anytime you want to get this is the guy. Always been the guy, the knife, right? So I think that's what happened to Bernier, and I think that he was a good goalie. And I think that you're right. Boston, there's less pressure in every other city than maybe Montreal. Montreal and Toronto are the worst. Like if you're not prepared for that, then it's tough. With all the pressure put on young prospective players, it's not a surprise they will slip up due to social media. Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think it's not. I think you've got to be like Lou Lamoriello. When Lou Lamoriello came to Toronto, he protected the players. And before that, they were like they were toys for the media. And it was like they were constantly exposed. And Lou limited that. He didn't let the
what happening is like Mike Babcock make a rules when he came back. Nobody can talk to the media without approval, and nobody coaches can talk. It's only me. So they start to protect more the players to be more and to be sure, because second thing it was the young players, right? The Marner, the Matthews. So they don't want to expose them to the pressure they got over there.
So that was the first time, I think, that because before it was bad. Like the media would be allowed to ask crazy questions, and all they were trying to do was print headlines, just like a tabloid. And it was, to say that doesn't affect guys, especially if you're from Toronto, absolutely does. And it's almost like the media thrived off them sucking. And nobody would want to come to Toronto before that. Like I will give Brendan Shanahan credit. He brought in Lou Lamoriello, who put structure in. Mike Babcock put structure in. And you can say what you want. And that machine got Mike Babcock just the way it will one day get Kyle Dubas, and one day it'll get Sheldon Keefe.
Yep. Yeah, and I think like
mark my words. Let's look at the GMs that have gone through Toronto that were good. Was Cliff Fletcher any good? Great.
Well, listen, it's a market where the market is like anything else, right? It's very difficult to perform there. It's very difficult. They have their slump. They have their big time. They have a couple of good years. But at the end of the day, it's very hard to play there with everything going on with their pressure, players, everything like that. And they have a good run right now. I think the next 5 years, they're going to be a top best 5 team in NHL.
For sure. They are already. I mean, they're tops right now, and they have so much young talent. And I think they've got a model where they'll move in pieces to help the young talent, right? So there, like if there was a question here, which around Riddick, which I don't think he looks horrible to me. I don't know why anybody would want to sign him. I saw this in Calgary. I don't know about you, Pierre. He was like, he's a sieve. Like the guy is not good. He lets in a lot of garbage.
But again, it's the same situation. It's another goaltender number 2. They have only 31 spots in NHL. It's very hard. You can see right now with Carden Hart. Listen, he struggled to be a goaltender number 1 right now. And he take a lot to be a really solid goaltender number 1. And I don't think so. Toronto will have to pick up. The one thing Montreal, imagine Montreal right now. Jake Allen already played almost 20 games, Michael, right now. Imagine if he was not Jake Allen, what Montreal would be.
I mean, he played a lot of games and had a good record. So you can't totally blow that out of the water. I'm shocked how bad he is. Like, he's just, you're better with an AHL goalie right now. Like, I would rather put Hutchison in. So I don't know. For me, I don't know. Somebody will sign him probably. I think that to Pierre's point, it's tough position. He's a big goalie. He's got a body of work behind him that's not bad. He would be a good backup. He's played a lot of games in Calgary. So it might just be the pressure and whatever else, but he did not look good in Calgary. The only team he was good against was Toronto. and then he moved to Toronto, and he's pretty bad. So I don't know.
Yeah. I want to know something in the bottom.
For the general manager position, do you have a certain personality to deal with the pressure of places? Yes. I think it varies, but they have to be media savvy. They have to be confident. I think that they have to choose their words carefully, typically.
Thank you, Denise.
Yeah. I'll use an interesting example, which in Buffalo, they had Tim Murray. And he's just an odd guy that's good at evaluating talent, but it doesn't play well in the media, right? So I think he struggled a little bit. Paul Fenton, man, I think he just had general interpersonal issues, and they won't last. So I think usually you got a guy that's steady Eddie, keeps his cards close to the vest, says the right things in the media. But it's tough in Toronto, no matter what. I mean, they now have a power structure in Toronto that is helpful, which is Brendan Shanahan. So having this overlord of hockey that has changed the game for all of us, by the way, Pierre, right? Like the game we see today would not be what it is without Brendan Shanahan. Just what he did to help clue everybody in and eliminate obstruction when they had, 2 shutdowns ago. He's that guy, and he's well respected, and that's what you want, because he understands how to build a team. And he's brought in important pieces, and he believed in Dubas. He brought in Lemrel to, groom him. So I think that will help Kyle Dubas long term. Sheldon Keefe has got a little bit of that protection right now, but I don't know long term. I mean,
I think to follow with Anthony for me is like, talk about Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver is another big place there, right? Those 3 cities are everything they move, everything happening. And this hockey team, they are scoop. They are already, they are everything they move. They are scooping them. They check on them. They have the news, everything like that. You talk about the Rangers, the Los Angeles King, everything like that. I would say to you, no, it's not the same pressure, because you have other sport or other bigger team, that the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the New York, the Yankees, and then the Mets, and then you talk about the Knicks, and then you go with the Giants, and then you go with the Jets, and then the hockey go down. But Montreal, Toronto, Winnipeg, Hamilton, Calgary, and you can go Vancouver, they have nothing else. That's their sport number 1. So the pressure, those GM is unbelievable. Every move, everything they do, it's go after that with coaches. Look, Dominic Ducharme right now, he's hammering every morning right now. He get hammered by everybody in Montreal. He's not a good coach anymore. Everybody want to fire him right now. The guy play only 15 games with Al Gallagher. They are 3-9 with Al Gallagher and Carey Price. So you cannot compare what he does right now with Claude Julien, everything like that. But again, the guy right now, he's maybe losing everything because the situation with Montreal. But yes, the pressure is bigger there. Look, Bill Zito. I think nobody knows Bill Zito. He can walk in the street, but if Mark Bergevin walk in the street, everybody would shoot him, right? So it's a different world in Canada versus USA at those big cities.
I think, so it's interesting, these specific markets, right? Like Winnipeg is still lots of attention, but still a very small market. And if you look at Kevin Cheveldayoff, I think we're all like looking at him initially like, well, this team's not getting better for a long time. It was like took time, and they were patient with them. So they have a good organization, and he's been a very good GM. Like he was patient for a number of years. We were all impatient, and it panned out. And he's made good picks on players, but he's very like reserved guy, right? Like he's kind of stoic, and he gives you like, he's just kind of low key smiley. LA, Rob Blake, they're actually very similar. And Rob Blake's a legend, right? So is Luc Robitaille, and they're running things. There's definitely less pressure in LA, but they want to win. But it's self-imposed pressure. But if you look at Rob Blake, he's a very gentlemanly guy. He's kind of reserved a little bit. He'll talk to you quietly, and you listen to what he says. New York Rangers, Jeff Gorton. Glenn Sather was the GM for a long time, right? Dude, like when did Glenn Sather stop being the GM? wasn't that long.
Yep.
And Jeff Gorton, I think he gets to fly a little bit under the radar. So very different microscope to Pierre's point of view or point.
That's all right about this.
All right.
Just want to say hi to Tim. Tim the Gator. We did not answer to your question earlier, but yes, they have a must between Montreal and Florida. They have to win tonight. They have no tomorrow for them. This they want to accomplish Montreal to make the playoff and Florida to stay in the race to first place. I think they are going to be there, but I don't know if it's possible, Michael, to share something for the fans. Let me check something. Can I share a screen?
Should be able to.
But can I share a screen like that?
Should be able to.
Can I?
I don't know. So I think to your point, Montreal, I feel like, they still have a game in hand on Calgary, but Calgary put a bit of a hurt in them with those 2 wins. So now that's, 2 wins by them makes them within 4 points. So you've got 10 and 9 games respectively. So it's a little bit of a horse race. It'll be tough for Calgary, I still think, to get in there. But again, this is really where it comes down to those head-to-head matchups. So they play again. Like, can Calgary beat them 3 times in a row? Can Calgary beat Edmonton twice?
I'll be honest with you. It's nothing changed for Montreal. They were not going to make the playoff. They have something inside that team does not work. I don't know. I tried to find a way. Although the fact, like Michael, they scored 1 goal by the defenseman in the last 22 games.
I mean, their power play is horrible.
So if you think about this, 1 goal by the defenseman, they are the worst team in NHL, and by defenseman group of defensemen, 31. They was number 3 at the first 20 games of the season. So that give you an idea right there. But I want to show you something, and don't mention, just watch. And after that, you can comment. I wish NHL was here, but check this. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
All right. Just watch.
Who is this? Who am I watching?
You see it?
Is that Drouin?
What?
Is that Drouin?
No.
Who is it? Romanov?
Caulfield.
Oh, well, whatever.
How good he is.
Yeah, of course he's good, but I mean, this is not what is going to matter in Montreal. Like, he's a kid still. I mean,
the kid's going to score 35, 40 goals per year.
For sure, just like Alex DeBrincat. He's the same caliber of player.
The guy he looked like.
Who does he look like? You're transfixed on a U.S.-born little guy that some good hands. But
he's a DeBrincat 2.0 for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think coaches like Kenville, Tocchet, Tortorella can handle media market like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver? Yeah.
Tocchet, Quenneville for sure could. Tortorella would be an absolute disaster.
I'll be a reverse me. I would say to you, Tocchet, no. Tocchet, no. Kenville, yes. Tortorella, absolutely amazing and big market. Hi, Joey.
Disaster.
Welcome. What?
That would be a disaster.
It would be amazing.
For who? It'd be the
media to have Tortorella over there.
That would be a disaster. He would have so many. It would just be great if you're in the media writing garbage articles and putting news up and controversy.
He would bring a lot of things what nobody got. Like the worst thing right now is Dominique Ducharme.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I never liked the move. I think he's 2 or 3 games below 500. I like Dom, but I mean,
I love your picture, Joey.
With the Rangers, who's that? That
Panarin over there. you know.
So I think, again, Quenneville and Tocchet would be fine. Tortorella, to me, would be like the tabloids. It would be constant controversy. Let's use an example, Pierre. Ron Wilson, when he was in Toronto. Ron Wilson is a guy that would keep video on referees and statistics on referees, right? And he was not, friendly to the media, and they lapped it up. And it was great if you're in the media, but it wasn't great for the team. And I think Tortorella would be a mess in Toronto.
I agree with me that people, you would create so much news the morning. People talk about this all the time.
They already talk about hockey all the time. They don't need Tortorella drama.
No, but in fact, every movie will do will make it fun. It's Lafreniere and Panarin. Thanks. Frenchy have a good bounce back game with a Zibanejad. I'll be honest with you, Joey. You have Anthony here. You have also Denise here, but more like Gator, Tim, and who I can say right now. Frank Salazar is not here, but you guys, you for sure with Michael Devalleno, you for sure is amazing. The next 2-3 years, your team is going to be the best 10 team, top 10 in NHL. Maybe Detroit a little bit longer, but Rangers and Florida, you guys already knocked the door to be there already. Florida this year, but
Rangers are like the level of talent in that organization is off the charts.
Yep.
And if you compare that, let's use the comparison to Detroit. Who is Lafreniere? Who is Kakko? In order to, they had like ridiculous luck with those two things, or did they? I don't know. I can't figure it out, Pierre. It's like Edmonton 2.0 getting Lafreniere and Kakko. So it's kind of crazy. Adam Fox, like, for free.
Well, that's the chance. The reason why the Rangers are right now is Adam Fox. Is a one that big nobody expect. Why you not. I said 2 weeks ago, Adam Fox should be the Norris Trophy talking about. I think Edmund is one step for everybody else, but I think Adam Fox should be in the finalists right now on this trophy.
Maybe. I mean, he's really much better than I thought. I never liked what happened with Calgary and then Carolina. I think that's a loophole that, I don't like. But on the ice, he is a very good player.
And look what Zibanejad has. Take out his first 10, 12 games where he got a couple of assists. This guy is on fire right now. Panarin is fire over there. Again, Capo scored yesterday 2 goals, I believe. Grader, Strome,
Kravtsov, Buchnevich. Like, you start going down in that lineup, it's crazy.
I forgot him also. And then the goaltender is maybe he will be the top 5, 10 best goaltender in NHL.
Easy. Another great Russian goalie.
Yep, so right, Joey. I think you, you know what I mean? Like, you are right now a Rangers fan. You're going to love what you see. You're going to be more excited right now. He's going to have another great pick. You're going to be a top 10, 12 pick of the NHL next year. So you're in a great position right now. I think they should not make the playoff. I don't think so. They will make, and I think that's okay to not make the playoff right now. It's better to have a little bit a good play over there.
I don't know. I have a hard time with that. Like, I feel like it's weird for me. Like, I feel like they should get in there. I think that they don't need more prospects because they still have, like, to me, I love Schneider. The more I watch this guy, to me, that's like one of those unsung pieces that can come in and be a number 3, 4 eventually, and not that far off. And that would complete your lineup. Like, what else?
I'm not agree with you when you say you don't need more prospect. I think yes, because now you can have another you can have another player to trade if you want to get a specific player. So you have to pick up right now. They better not make the playoff, first of all. They get another one. And then after that, you jump for 1 or 2 pick. You can trade 1 or 2 of them and then get another solid defenseman, whatever they're looking for.
Yeah, I think what they need at this point is time. and because they have a ridiculous, like, this is crazy. You know what they have coming. They still have Matthew Robertson. Jeez, I forgot about that. I mean, they've just got so many assets, Pierre. Like, you asked
we
someone.
did not talk about Gravsov. We did not talk about Miller.
That's what I brought up. I said Kravtsov.
No, they have to sign Longvis because they're going to lose him.
Right.
That's what I think. I think one of them talk about this.
Yeah, somebody mentioned this. I lost the comment.
NHL talk about him earlier.
Yeah, I have no idea if they'll sign him. I would be shocked if they didn't. If they don't, then maybe Detroit can sign him. Because he's, he could be a top 4 defenseman as well. I mean, they have just so many assets, Pierre. It's crazy. Like, Scheidl's just coming along. They kind of moved on from Anderson, which is probably good. But you go through it, and it's like they've done a phenomenal job, and they had some phenomenal luck. But to me, it's like they're not, like, how many pieces are they away? Like 1? Like, you project out a year how much better Lafreniere and Kakko will be, and even Scheidl playing with them. And if they keep Kreider and they can manage it all, and then you throw in a young defenseman or a venture defenseman to be in the top 4, man, they're friggin' good. And that goalie is so good.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. And I think I want to mention Zach Jones also.
I know, it's crazy. Did they just sign him to a contract? I think they did, right?
Yes, yeah, he played.
Yeah.
He have a 1 point yesterday.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got nothing to cry about in New York. They've done a good job.
But I think I want to mention to him about for Joy. So what's the reason I believe they don't make it, Michael, is because of that part over there. I'm going to give it to you. That's something I really study all the time, every day. It's like this. Like, the Boston have the best way this week. Look, Pittsburgh, Buffalo. So you should win maybe 2 or 3 games over there. But check Washington. Islanders, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, Michael, have a big week this week. They play Islanders. Look, Boston, Washington this week, Pittsburgh. And the Rangers, look, Buffalo tomorrow, but then after that, Islanders. Not easy weeks for them about that part over there. So
no, it's going to be tough.
It'll be really tough for me. When you check a little bit more, that's what I think is very difficult. And so for Anthony, that one.
Yeah, so quick answer is they can trade their first round pick at the draft. We have trades announced all the time.
Yes.
Why do you say Keandre Miller is a top 4, but you can't say the same? I don't. I say Schneider is top 4. Pierre thinks he's a little farther out. I think he's going to surprise us because he is mean, he's physically mature, and he's going to get bigger, and he can skate, and he can shoot the puck. He's mean. Like, I will repeat that. He is a throwback where he wants to punish you with hits, and he can do it without taking penalties. He's going to be a pain in the ass. I like him a lot. I didn't like when they made the pick. I think a lot of people were like, what? But now we realize after we saw him at the Canadian camp, this kid is a monster.
I believe he is 2 years from what we expect from him.
I mean, that wouldn't be the worst thing. But knowing him, I bet you he surprises us. But what I've seen from his body of work is we always underestimate him, and then he's like, God, I hate this guy. Why am I playing against him? He hurts me. He'll probably take some time, but maybe not. He might surprise us. We'll see. I don't think there's any pressure on him, Pierre. There's like zero. The pressure comes from him. He's that type of person. Do you want to quickly, so just to recap last night, and the title of this was The Penguins Move into First Place, Pierre. And I think we underestimate how good this team is. And they've just hung in the top 3 of their division. And here they are. They're in first. Game in hand for Washington, but Washington does not look amazing at the moment. Yeah,
first of all, it's impressive to see them in the top 4. I would not be worried. They're not going to win there. But to be 49 game after to get there, they have a really easy schedule. They did not lose everything last week. They played against New Jersey and Buffalo. But overall, they won a good game. Not remember which one, but overall, I think Pittsburgh is going to finish second or third. What is surprised me on that schedule there is the 2 loss of Boston this weekend. Also, the struggle a little bit from Islanders. But again, you can look about this Washington there, and then the Rangers are about what 4 point, but too many game over there, 4 behind Boston. And
It's
I think Boston have an easy schedule this week, so I think so they will jump. But again, it's a good run for the Rangers to get again 7-1. But it's you have to give credit to Mike Sullivan and the group of Pittsburgh to be. And then you know what, we are very quiet about this, Michael, everywhere. But look the record of Pittsburgh. Send Mr. Shane Burke and not Shane, but
Hextall
and Hextall are there. Look that team, how they look like.
Oh no, it's ridiculous. That's why I like the moves they made in the offseason. I do not like Pittsburgh as a team. I've never liked them. I like Malkin, but I'm also realistic. When I look, I saw how they won the Cup, Pierre. And when they won the Cup twice in a row, they did it with guys that people were like, who? And we still say that kind of about Jake Guentzel. Jake Guentzel is, we don't believe it because he plays with Sidney Crosby. So then you look at his body of work, and you see that goal that he scored last night?
Yeah. Do you know they are the best record at home? 23-2. So I don't know. Michael left. He may be back. I just realized he's left. So Michael, what he said is during the draft, people are said Code 3 has a potential to be a top 4 this Monday.
Well, Keandre, I don't know if anybody thought. I don't hear people saying he's a top 4. Do you, Pierre? I think that they thought he'd be a top 6, but he's better. He's probably a top 4. He's a big guy, can skate, and I think Braden Schneider is the same, a little bit different. He's a little smaller, and he people don't realize just how good he is defensively. He's got a very good stick, and he can hit like old school.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason why the reborn of Miller and also reborn of Fox make who they are, the Rangers right now. And you absolutely right, Joey. I think Pittsburgh have a great run. But again, look, I'm doing a power ranking NHL here every day, every Monday. And I'm doing this today. And again, the other one team won full game last week. Again, the lower team. It does make them there, but I don't want to. I have to give them credit anyway for what they are, because they play better what my expectation was for them. Same thing with the Rangers. I put the Rangers 6, I believe, or 7. I put Buffalo at the beginning of the year in front of Rangers.
Well, Buffalo should have been ahead of the Rangers. What Buffalo did was they sabotaged their own season by not making at least a coaching change early enough. So that we see that now, because without Eichel, without Hall, without Montour, frankly, they're a good team. The young guys are capable. The older guys are playing well. So there was something wrong in that locker room. And it's obvious when you lose 18 in a row. It's like, with all that talent. And without Eric Stahl. How's Eric been doing?
So again?
How's Eric Stahl been doing? Yeah, the Rangers are definitely right now top 10 right now, don't you think?
Yep.
Anyways, I was saying before I accidentally exited myself that for Pittsburgh, we keep underestimating that lineup. And if you look at, let's mention 2 players. Let's mention 3 players. One is Jake Guentzel. I mean, how good is Jake Guentzel? This is a guy that's top 13 in the NHL in scoring. He's got 21 goals in 49 games. And when you saw last night the goal he scored, he can really snipe. So here's a guy last year, also in 39 games, had 20 goals, 40 goals the year before. So we keep underestimating this guy. And then you think, let's mention another player, which is Bryan Rust. Bryan Rust right now, Pierre, would have a 35, 40 goal season. And so last year, again, 27 goals in 55 games, 20 goals in 49 games. This is just a player that's gotten better and better for the team. And he's got a little bit of edge, right? So they get these guys that people overlook. Let's mention one other guy. How good has Jared McCann been? You saw him in Florida. And in Pittsburgh, he's got 13 goals in 36 games. So they find these pieces, Pierre, that fit in, and they contribute big time to them better than they would anywhere else. And I think that we just, we overlook those guys and we overlook how well they do.
Yep.
And then it took a little while for Jarry. So I don't love that team. However, let's not be silly. They're very good. I watch Kris Letang, Pierre, and I'm like, he's still amazing. He's like, how many defensemen are like, he might be better than Doughty right now. Like, do you think if you watch the two players at this point in their career, both have similar miles on them, he might be better than Doughty. He's so smart with the puck. He can really shoot. He's great on the power play. He's good one-on-one. And they're getting miles out of guys like Cody Ceci, who was not great before.
Absolutely, Joey. They will be there for sure. They'll maybe drop at 14, I believe, or maybe a little bit lower. So it'll be interesting to see that. But I'm completely doing this after the show here. I'm done with the skill. I'm working on the schedule for next week. So, but they're going to be top there.
This is interesting, Pierre. They are 23-2 Pittsburgh at home.
Yeah, they are the best in the NHL.
Like by a lot. So they're like a plus 17 at home and a plus 1 on the road. So that's kind of interesting.
We have 2 more games. They play 52 or 3 more games to go.
So they have 49 games they've played. And I think Washington's 48, Islanders are 48, Boston's 47. So there's some games in hand. This thing is far from over. You don't like the momentum in Washington and New York, but I think they'll come around, obviously. They're very good teams.
Yeah, Washington won the last 2. They beat Islanders 6-3. It's like that, right? You have a 1 week, so a team look good. Boston won the first 2 games of the week, and then they lost 2 bad games this weekend. Again, the problem of that division, you have 3 teams struggle a lot: Philadelphia, New Jersey, Buffalo. New Jersey is 11 lost right now, I think, straight. I think the straight is 11 game with no point or no W. I don't know. Michael can move it to the right. But I think they are 0-9-1. See, so that's give you an idea how they struggle a lot there. So that's the point happening there with that division. So we'll see. Is one they're going to play each other, and I think right now the Rangers play the Islanders to make the playoff. The Islanders have to beat them twice this week, and it will be interesting to see that.
Yeah, Guentzel is like. It's like, where did this guy come from?
But again, those guys that play like him, and Pascal Dubuis, and those guys showing up, play with those guys, the player line like Rust. I think that's another one there too.
I said
advantage of them, right? I mean,
you guys specifically named those 2 guys, right?
Yeah.
So Bryan Rust, like 20 goals in 49 games, even 36 games. They're doing this without Malkin. I don't know what the status of him is.
It was day-to-day right now, so I don't know if he'll be back. They're missing Bludger at some point. But again, one player right there on that group we don't talk a lot, I'll be honest with you, is Cody Ceci.
Well, that's why I brought him up before. I said they're getting good miles out of Ceci, who was terrible before.
Yep.
Blackwood has 9 straight starts. The Devils without Zajac and Palmer are bad. Yeah, that hurt them. They were getting by the skin of their teeth. That being said, they've made good progress with the young guys. Jack Hughes is looking better and better every game. Zaka, if you look at his stats, is having his best season ever. He's on pace for 22 or 23 goals. So there's positives. They've done it without Nico Hischier for the most part. He's been hurt all year. The young guys like Shiragovich is really good. Like they got a really good winger there, Pierre. And then Ty Smith has been out, and Ty Smith is very good. So the future will be okay in New Jersey. They've got good pieces there. And then they got, you got to think they got Alexander Holtz coming, and he's closer to the NHL than than maybe Pierre thinks. I think he's closer.
And they get also another great prospect next year.
Then they'll get another high.
You know what I mean? You maybe get
Somebody.
Power, so Bernier, everything like that. So that's it. That's pretty much it. Anything
Luke,
else you want to add before we go?
No.
You get to go through the game tonight. I did not look everything.
Yeah,
we have a, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Montreal Canadiens. It's a game both teams need to win. Avalanche Blues Blues beats Avalanche 5-3 2 days ago. Canucks Senators. Canucks have the number of Senators this year, but Canucks, they are still in the race with Calgary and Montreal, so they have to beat Ottawa because after that they're going to be harder. Stars, they want to stay in the race to make the playoff. They have to beat Carolina tonight. Not going to be easy. On the flip side, Panthers want to stay in the first place with the Carolina, have to beat the Nashville. The big game right now is the Oilers Jets tonight. I believe it will be interesting to see that. It'll be a double header for me to watching this game. Oilers didn't play a lot last week. Only 2 games, Michael. 1-1 last week. The Jets struggled the last 2 games against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Ducks King and nothing there. The Coyotes want to make, but this is a big game between both of them. Both have to win tonight if they want to stay alive.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Joey. We welcome you to just want to mention to you, like anybody else on the show, we have a live stream tonight, start at 6:15. We're going to go live for the game, the Montreal Canadiens versus Calgary Flame. And then we're going to consider the show to watching Panthers play tonight against Nashville. We'll go to John also again, Winnipeg and Jets. Again, the Oilers. We're going to go until 10:30 tonight. So it'll be a long live stream tonight. It will be interesting to be that. So we invite everybody to join, talking about one thing we love is hockey. And finally, without you, this cannot be possible. More people you bring, share, subscribe to your YouTube channel on the Hockey National Show, because that's the reason shows get better, because each one of you participate, comments, everything like that. We only here to helping, to sharing the love, the passion we have about hockey.
Hey, one thing we didn't mention, Pierre, how good is that Jeff Carter trade looking for Pittsburgh?
Which one?
Jeff Carter.
I think it's just a plus about that one over there. He's a little bit quiet right now, but I think suddenly he will bring what they don't have, I believe, in the bottom 6. Plus some power play.
Yeah, I mean, last night, if you look at what he did, he was taking faceoffs and winning, which, is a skill of his. And he's got 11 goals now. So he scored a little bit more than maybe we realize. 10 goals. So he's on 10 goals, and he scored 3 points in his last 5 games. And
you have like 3 points the last 3 games. You have 2 goals the last 5. He participates. But again, you have to be careful. Like I said to Joey Rameda, look, the schedule drop down. But they play against Buffalo and New Jersey 4 games last 5 games. So we have to be. You have to be careful about what they play against at the end of the day. But we cannot do, don't give
Boston. Are they going to beat Boston twice in a row?
Yeah, Washington, Boston.
So they got some tough games coming up. Philadelphia is no joke. They do finish off against Buffalo, but we've seen Buffalo's real tough. I mean, they're in the playoffs, but I don't know. It's going to be they're going through the gauntlet, right? Josh Anderson and Tyler Toffoli traded, of course. Yeah, I mean, the signing of Tyler was great. I think that's a relationship there between Tyler's agent and Bergevin.
With the goal of Corey Perry, Michael, they are 40.5% of all the goal in NHL Canadian this year. That's pretty amazing.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, they missed Gallagher, but these 2 guys have done great. I mean, the Josh Anderson trade, I was shocked that I never understood what Columbus was thinking there. Like, even before they traded him, they didn't want to sign him, Pierre. He made $1.9 million and he scored 24 goals.
Yeah, it's always easier to talk about that. I think for Josh Anderson trade with 1 goal versus Max Domi was because he was looking for the center.
But he was hurt.
So that's what happened there. And for the Canucks, they have a chance. I think it will be hard for them. They have so much game. You can see Montreal struggle right now. Montreal is on the 3 weeks of the 4 weeks with 4 games. They have another week this week to finally breathe a little bit better. But again, every week right now they are 1-2-1. They have 1-3. They have 1 week only with 2-2. So this week's not going to be easier. Calgary, Toronto, Winnipeg, Ottawa this week. 4 different teams. This week they have to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Yeah. Joey, Tyler was a free agent. He was unrestricted, and Montreal signed him, which was smart. Canucks wanted to keep him, and I think he actually wanted to stay, Pierre, in Vancouver, but it's worked out way better.
I think they asked $4 million. The problem with Vancouver, they don't have the $4 million to pay him for what they thought. But again, if you think about this, they are better with Toffoli versus Todd Pearson. But it's easier to talk about this way this morning versus like 3 months ago. And also, you have to always remember the time they play. With Montreal, you have a lot more time. With Vancouver, the timing, the TOI, I don't think so. It was the same. Yeah, there are both of them. Not both of them, but Toffoli is a UFA, and Anderson was a trade with Max Domi. So, Michael, with time to go.
Yep, great job, Pierre.
Great show, everybody. Thanks, Michael, be here. Thanks, everybody. Joy, we invite you to come back every morning. Look like you have a great question. I love your comments, everything like that. And also NHL and every otherwise. Thank you so much for everybody to be here Monday. Look forward to see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock Eastern time. And we'll be back tonight for another live show. So thanks, and have an amazing, great Monday.
Thanks, everybody.